We're going to be using dumbbells for a hypertrophy workout. Now, what does that mean? That means we're going to be doing exercises that are to increase muscle mass or get those muscle cells bigger. Now, there's a couple different ways that we can exercise. One is for strength, one is for more muscle size. We're going to be focusing on muscle size. So to do that, we're going to be doing multiple sets for what's called a high volume workout. I found that that's more effective for me. I've tried to do strength workouts more in the past. They're good, but I found that actually hypertrophy workouts are more effective for me in just being able to sustain that workout week after week to continue to see muscle growth. So today we're going to be using dumbbells and a bench. If you don't have a bench, you could also do this laying on your back on the ground. So we're going to be working a variety of muscles today. We're going to be working the chest and triceps with our first exercise, the biceps and back with our second exercise, then focusing in on the muscles in the arms and the shoulder, then finishing up with legs and core. So if that sounds good to you, hit that like button for me to let me know you want more content like this, where we're doing full body workouts with dumbbells. So for our first thing though, I always like to start with a warm up for the exercises we're gonna do. So for this, I grab a slightly lighter dumbbell. Now there's a lot of different ways of doing a warm up. The way I found works well for me is what's called a specific warm up, where we're warming up by doing using the same muscles that we're going to be doing the exercise with. So we do the exercise with a slightly lighter dumbbell. Normally I would do 40 pounds. I'm doing this with 30 instead. So I'm dropping it down to about the 75% effort. So dropping it down by a quarter. So what I'm going to do is a supported row. Now I like this because it helps take some of the pressure off your low back. I'm going to put my hand on a wall or post, let my arm hang straight down from my shoulder. Now this is our starting position. I want that fully to hang with my chest pointed at the ground. From here, I'm going to pull up to my ribs, or you can think about pulling up toward to your waist. You don't want to be up here. You want to be back here where I'm pointing my elbow straight up towards the ceiling. So I'm going to do 10 reps of these each side just to get some blood flow into that muscle. I'm working the muscles in my bicep and my lats and that upper back muscle. So the goal right now is for this to not be strenuous. If it's tiring at 10, you're going too heavy too fast. So with this, I'm just going to warm up the muscles to get blood flow into that. It actually opens up the capillaries to those muscles to start working them. So it warms them up, gets blood sugar into the muscle. Because we don't want to go in heavy weights onto cold muscles. So that's our first exercise. I like to always do exercises in pairs. So when we do a pulling movement, I always like to do a pushing movement as well to balance it out. That's how I construct my workouts, is I build them in pairs of exercises that I can jump between those two to get through the workout efficiently. Also, for a hypertrophy workout, I like to have a balanced physique, so I'm trying to build up both sides of the joint, so it's filling out more on both sides, where I'm not in like this, where one side's really strong and one side's not nearly as strong. I want to keep that balance between the two sides. So for that, we just did a pulling movement, so we're gonna do a pushing movement. So with your back, I like to put the dumbbells right on my knees, and then kicking up with my knees, they go right over the top of my shoulder. Now this is a dumbbell bench press. You could do this without a bench as well if you don't have one, but if you do, it's much better because you can get to that deep stretch position in the bench. So starting with my hands right over the top of my shoulders, I'm gonna bend my elbows, bringing the dumbbells to the outside of my chest. Now I'm really trying to go all the way down to where they're as low as possible and then back up, right over the top of my shoulders. I don't want to bring them in close together. I want to keep them out here over the top of my shoulders to keep that position straight up and down. You should feel that deep stretch in your chest. So that's the advantage of the dumbbells over a barbell, is you can get all the way deep down and not have to worry about the bar hitting you in the chest. And 10. So you should feel that right across your chest muscles in here. So now, going to a heavier dumbbell. That was a warm-up set. Now I go into a working set. Now, what a set is a time repeating an exercise. So doing as many reps as you can within one exercise. And our goal with that is to get to where the muscle feels tired. So where you feel like you could maybe lift the weight one or two more times at max. That's where we want to shoot for. Now for muscle hypertrophy, you would want to do that the more times you do that set, the more sets you have, the more that muscle grows, the bigger that muscle gets. So that was one of the things that has made a big difference for me in how fast my muscle's growing, is increasing the number of sets per workout. I used to do 1 set per workout, and I found that I was growing, but very, very slowly. So that was one of the 2 big takeaways that has accelerated my growth. Is the first one is increasing the number of sets I do for each muscle. I'm just going until I feel tired in that muscle. The second big thing for me has been actually varying the number of sets. So instead of doing 3 sets of everything, I do a couple sets on the things the muscles I'm trying to maintain. So repeating those exercises a couple times, but then really prioritizing doing a lot of extra sets on 1 or 2 muscles to try and get them to grow. So for me, I'm trying to get my arms to get bigger faster. So I've been doing 4 sets of arms exercises compared to everything else I do 2 or 3. So giving that extra amount to the arms. And I found that's actually been a big change in my workout. Because when I was trying to get everything to grow simultaneously, it still is not as fast as I want it to. But if I prioritize one thing, just one set of muscles, I've seen a lot more growth in my arms, even in the last month, just doing that. All right, and going to bench press. Now this is working primarily the chest muscle, those pectoral muscles, but also some of the tricep, the muscle in the back of the arm. Now I'm not worrying too much about the reps. That's how many times I'm going up and down. All I'm caring about is what does the muscle feel. So I'm going until I feel tired in that muscle, in that chest muscle especially. Now, if you can't do more than 5 reps, you probably want to get a lighter dumbbell. It means you're going too heavy too fast, or you're going too heavy for right now. Strength training is much more about low reps. Hypertrophy training or muscle size training is much more about how many sets you can do. So if we're trying to maximize sets, we don't want to have super low reps because we want to maximize how close to failure you're going, and low reps, it's hard to hit that point. It's hard to estimate that. So that's why I like to go higher reps and lower weight. I found that's actually a lot easier on my joints as well. So high weight, what I used to do, and moderate to low reps. I found that really just beat up my joints. So now I aim for more endurance and higher reps, or more volume, I should say. And I found that has reduced my risk of injury, as well as helped me still maintain or actually accelerate my muscle growth. This is our second set of bent over row. I'm trying to point my chest straight down towards the ground, so I'm not letting it sort of twist, and then pulling up to my rib cage with my hand. So right up to the bottom of the rib cage. I'm trying to match reps on both sides. So I'm having the same number of reps on both arms. And 12. Going till I feel tired in that arm. Now, if you're liking these workouts and want to see more, want to do more follow along workouts live, I host these live streams on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. If you are looking to join me on this fitness journey, looking to be healthier, build muscle to feel better, I think that's the big thing for me is when I stop working out, I feel so much worse. My back can start hurting, my muscles start to ache. It starts not feeling good. I had a period of time where I was working as a desk job in marketing, and during that time, my body started to ache a ton more. Just being sedentary, sitting most of the day, working on marketing content. So keeping your hands right in line with your shoulders. This is actually stretching that chest muscle down here at the bottom. So you wanna make sure you're going all the way down to get that chest stretch. So we're improving muscle size and actually flexibility as well at the same time. So, something I used to do a lot more is I used to always stretch my chest, which nothing wrong with stretching your chest. You're doing this, opening up that chest muscle like this, because a lot of times it can get tight in here. We do a lot of driving or on the phone or things that tighten up that chest muscle. It gets it short and it can feel really bad on your shoulders and your back. Pulls all this forward like this. So if you're stretching that chest, opening it up, it actually gives more room for those lungs to expand as well and to take that deep breath in and out. So that's why doing that deep stretch position really opens up that chest. It's such a benefit. And I found actually if I do that, I don't need to stretch my chest nearly as much because I'm already getting that stretch in my workout. So I really like going full range of motion to get that stretch maintained. So supported row, hands here. This helps support your low back. So I'm keeping that back straight. I'm not rounding to the front. I'm letting it just hinge from my hips. Think about it. This is the way that it made sense to me. I've got a lot of little joints in my back or one big joint of my hips that's designed to take all of that pressure. So instead of using my little joints here that are for fine-tuned movement, use the big joints of my hips to bend at the hips, not from my back. It's our third set of bent over row. So hinging from the hips, I'm pushing my hips to the back, letting my arm hang down, pointing my chest towards the ground, pulling up to my rib cage. I'm not twisting it all with my back. Pulling up to my ribs, feeling this in my upper back. And 12. When I come back to the front, so with starting position, I want to go to a full hang where my shoulder blade is actually pulling forward. And that's going to work all these muscles back here behind the shoulder blade because they have to then stretch and contract. So anytime we do an exercise, especially for hypertrophy, we want to fully let the muscle lengthen and then contract and then lengthen again. Now, if you have trouble with this movement, even with the support, you can also step 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, and do this way as a row where you're not putting extra pressure on your hamstrings, especially if you have tight hamstrings, that can be a difficult position. So, you could do a stagger step row as well, still with that support, if 2 feet together is too intense. Just make sure you're not twisting at your back or hips. You're pulling straight up. It's not like you're starting a car, or I'm just starting a car, starting a motor where you're pulling a ripcord. You're keeping your chest forward, pulling back with your back or with your upper back. These muscles right here. It's another difference between strength training and hypertrophy training. Strength training is using all the muscles available to create the movement. So in bench press, you would even use your legs and your back as much as possible to really arch into the movement. So, but with hypertrophy training, we care much more about how the local muscle feels. So it's not about how much can you push, it's how tired can you get that muscle. So if you can do that with a light weight, all the better. So you only go as heavy as you need to tire out that muscle. Now keeping my hands wide lets me get a great stretch on that muscle, on that chest, and that's gonna help tire it out faster at a lower weight. You might feel that burning feeling in your muscles. That's okay, that's actually your muscles metabolically having to be challenged, and that helps the muscle grow. So I'm gonna set these to the side. That was our first 2 exercises. And with that, we covered the chest and the back primarily, with a little bit of arms, but they're secondary muscles to that. So now we're gonna spend some more time really focusing effort into the arms and shoulder. So to do that, I'm gonna drop the dumbbells down in weight because they're much smaller muscles, and remember, we only want to go heavy enough so the muscle gets tired. And that's what's gonna be really benefiting that hypertrophy training or muscle size training. That was a hard thing for me to learn, was not going all out all the time, but pacing myself. So I actually go a little bit less now to try and make sure I can do this long term. Rather than running everything like a sprint, I try and run it like a marathon race. I'm really bad at that pacing, but I like to run everything like a sprint, but I found that if I want to actually get further, I need to slow down a little bit, do a little less intensity, so maybe lighter weights or fewer reps, but then do more sets, and that helps me build muscle faster. So we're gonna do an incline curl. Now this is focusing on the muscle in your bicep. So this is a really great way of learning the form of it, because you have to keep your head and your hips against the bench, and that helps give you support and a good foundation for a curl exercise. So from here, I'm gonna bring my hands up to the front, elbows tucked in at my sides, right at my rib cage. So with my hands here by my rib cage, when I straighten my elbow, instead of straightening them down here where there's no tension down at the bottom, instead with them at the rib cage, they straighten forward. See how they're by my knees almost? And that's gonna get that maximum tension in that bicep at the bottom of the movement. And that's going to really increase the amount you get out of every curl. So I'm going up and down. This is called an incline bench curl. Sort of pushing out towards the front instead of going straight down with the dumbbell. If you're liking this content and want to see more, hit that like button for me. It helps support the channel and lets me know you want more exercises like this. I'm going until I feel tired in that bicep. And 11. Oh. So, if it's, sorry about that. So if it's painful in the tendon here in the front of your bicep, try a lighter weight. So, but you want to get to that completely almost straight for that bicep curl. If you have to do that with a lighter dumbbell, that's okay. We're training our tendon as well as that muscle. The muscle just comes down here and attaches to the tendon. So part of that is strengthening that tendon. And as you work the muscle and tendon together, both will get stronger. So you're only as strong as your weakest link. For me, when I first started, that was the tendon. So I had to start lighter than the muscle, but caught the tendon up to the muscle, and now I can train both together. So now we're gonna do an overhead press. This works the muscle in your deltoid and your tricep back here. So, bring your hands to your shoulders. I like to go towards the outside of my shoulders to get that maximum length in that muscle. So from here, I push up towards the ceiling and then back down. You should feel this in the top of my shoulder and back of my arm. I'm trying to keep my dumbbells right over the top of my shoulder. And I'm going until I feel tired in those arms and shoulder. And one more. And 12. So, because we're trying to maximize our arm size, we're going to be doing 4 sets of arms. We finished 1 so far. We've got 3 more left to go. So that means going back to the incline curl. I'm going to take just a moment. We're gonna try and get through this as quickly as possible, but I can feel the muscle still a little bit shaking. So I'm gonna just take a moment before going into the next set. The nice thing about doing what's called supersets, which is what we're doing here, where we're working one side of the joint and then the other side of the joint. Sort of like a teeter-totter. We've got 2 muscles on each side. So when one side's working, one side's resting, and then the other way around. So that's one of the advantages of doing supersets is, well, one side's working, the other side's recovering. So you don't have to spend as long in the gym or working out at home. So going here, out towards the front, back up, trying to really maximize that tension in the bicep. So I'm going sort of out to the front with my elbows digging into my rib cage. Should feel that all the way to the top of my shoulder, because the bicep actually attaches at the front of that shoulder. I'm going until I feel tired in that bicep. And relax. So if you're liking this workout and want to see more, want to be here live, I host them Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If you want to join me on this journey of building muscle together. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And relax. So that was set number 2. We're halfway there. Whew. So I know some days I feel more tired, and there's a lot of things that go into that where it's harder to get the same workout in. Some days that's because of sleep, and I think that was a big thing for me, is actually correcting my sleep. I'm honestly still working at getting better sleep right now. I get fair to good sleep, but not really great sleep, and that affects everything, including my muscles, including how I work out. So one of the things people miss out, I think, on is how are they sleeping? Because that affects their testosterone, it affects their hormones, it affects their stress. All those things influence how your muscles grow. And I know for me, that's the thing that is a big change in my life, is I used to only sleep about 4 or 5 hours, roughly. It was like 3 a.m. to 8 a.m. And now I've really tried to dial in my sleep to increase that to 6, 7 hours a night. Ideally, I would like to try and get to 8 hours a night, but still working on that. If you have any tips for how you sleep best, let me know in the comments. I know for me, magnesium has been a big help. All right, this is set number 3, so we're coming in to our 3rd set of 4. So elbows tucked in at your sides, going out towards the front. I'm just going until I feel tired in that bicep. And last one, 12. Okay. What I found, and I think this is supported by the research as well, is that fitness has sort of 3 big pillars. Got exercise and what you do there. Nutrition and food is the 2nd pillar. And the 3rd pillar is sleep and recovery. So you want to make sure you're getting all 3 of those. For a while, I was doing the exercise, but I wasn't eating well, and I wasn't sleeping well. So all this exercise that I was doing wasn't nearly as effective as it could be because I didn't have the other parts of my life dialed in. And I'm getting better at that. I'm not perfect at it, and that's okay. It's figuring out little things you can do to make your nutrition better or make your sleep better. Like for instance, for me, I found I wasn't eating enough protein. So I've upped that from 50 grams a day to 150 grams a day. That's, for me, it's about 1 gram per pound of body weight, or 0.7 grams to be more specific, which is a good range to do if you're working out trying to build muscle. I think a lot of people talk about being disciplined in working out, which is great, but I find that I really need to be disciplined in my sleep. So going to bed on time, waking up on time for that consistent schedule, even when I don't have to for any other reason. So even if I don't have to work that day, trying to keep my schedule consistent on the weekends. 9, 10, 11, and 12. Oh, feel that a lot in these shoulder muscles, in these deltoids. So with that, it's more the deltoid is the limiting factor, more than my back of my arm. I am working some of that tricep, but really it's this muscle right here that's my limiting muscle on that. So last set, and then we'll do some leg and core exercises. And I need just a second more, let my arms recover so I can really keep challenging that muscle, that bicep muscle, creating high tension in the muscle. Now, for some people, they won't need to do this many sets to grow their muscles in their arms. I found for me though, I don't have my genetics don't grow the same as they could if I do more sets. I can grow more muscle if I do more sets of those arms. So if I do 4 sets rather than 2 or 3. So I'm trying to really maximize how much muscle I'm growing in my arms. So to do that, really trying to get as many sets in as I can. I found right now about 4 is my limit, because that's when I stop being able to control the movement well. And so that's where I stop. It's important to know how much can you do each workout and still not miss a workout later in the week. Trying to go out towards the front to keep good form all the way through. And 10. And that's as far as I go on the 4th set. So in that 4th set, I lost 2 reps. I was doing 12 reps before. That one I only did 10. That's okay. It's dropping the last set because the muscle just has given everything it has to give. Man. All right, we're gonna keep on going. So, bring dumbbells up to my outside my shoulder, doing as many as I can before the muscle gets tired. So pushing up towards the front. 3. Doing that overhead press. 8. 9, last one, and 10. All right, so that's our arms and shoulders done. Now we're gonna move to legs. I'm gonna move this bench out of the way. Now for me, my legs are, just a moment, feel a little bit dizzy, so I'm just giving myself a moment. Heart's beating pretty fast. So for my legs, I'm trying to really build up my quads and get high tension in that full quad muscle. So to do that, I'm going to be doing a bench squat or a split squat. So I'm going to put the bench sideways like this. So having a seat on the bench, you're gonna put one foot out to the front. Now I like this because it takes the pressure off my low back, so I'm not having a lot of weight on that low back. I'm working one leg at a time, so I can't rely on my stronger leg to help my weaker leg. So we'll see how this goes today. So to know the distance from the bench, you put one foot out straight to the front, then step forward, Put the other foot up on the bench. All of your weight is gonna be on your front leg. So from here, I'm gonna bend my knee, almost like I'm trying to tap that back leg towards the ground and then back up. So tap and back up, trying to do 10 each side. Try and keep my chest up as I'm doing this. So I'm bending the knee towards the front. You should feel that right here on the top of your thigh. And same thing on the other side. So one leg out to the front. Yeah, I'm just gonna take a quick second between sets because the legs are pretty intense. I really dislike some leg exercises. And I think that's because they're really challenging. But because it's challenging, it's the things that are important to do. Because that means I'm tight or weak in that area. A lot of times people who are tight are also weak in that muscle. So like your hamstrings, if you feel like you have tight hamstrings, putting them under tension in that resistance training can help actually get them used to being pliable again. So if they're tight and weak, a great thing to do is tension movements for it in resistance training. So one foot up on the bench, bending the knee, tapping down, and back up. 3. I'm driving my weight down through my heel. 10. And relax. All right, so that was working these muscles primarily in the front of the thigh. We're gonna try and do a hip thruster using the bench. We're gonna see how this goes. It's a new exercise, so we're gonna try it out. So you're gonna put your shoulders on the bench. You can have your arms here just so you don't slip off the bench. And you're gonna have one foot up, or you can do this two-legged. You're bridging up towards the front, working the muscles in the back of your hips. But if this is too easy, you can always do this one-legged, and that's what we're gonna try today. So lifting one leg up off the ground, bridging up, and all the way back down, working these muscles in the back of the hip. Eight, 9, and 10. Oh, feel that a ton in my glutes back here. I like this because you can get through that full range of motion with the glutes, going all the way from this hip flex position into the extended position. So all the way up to straight. I just have my elbows here, so I'm not gonna slip off the bench. And relax. And those are our 2 leg exercises we're doing today. So we're just doing 1 set for legs and core to finish out. So for our core muscles, this is the exercise I found that really hits core, that rectus abdominis muscle, the best. Whew. Man, legs just take so much out of me. So using a stability ball, So I like to use a large stability ball. These should be about the same height as a little bit above your knee, so that when you are seated on a stability ball, your knees are at a 90-degree angle. So it means they're square at that 90 degrees. If you're like this, too small of a ball for you. And if you're like this, it's too big of a ball. So you want to be able to sit comfortably, and that's the right size for you. From here, we're going to lean back. So leaning back to where you're all the way rounded over the ball. That stretches out these abdominal muscles to their max length. From here, you're going to do hands across or one hand over the top of the other. Reach up towards the front, trying to bring your rib cage to your belly button. So I'm not hinging from the hips, it's all from the stomach, right in here. So doing 10 reps, folding up, breathe out, and breathe in. That breathing out clears the air out of your lungs, so it gives you room for spinal flexion. So you're not compressing air against your diaphragm. You know, normally, you would want to make sure you're keeping your spine straight. This is the one exercise we do where the spine bends to the front. I like this because the ball helps support your low back as you're doing it. So I've tried a lot of variations to this, even with a bench. So I'm doing a decline sit-up. I've liked this one the best using the ball because it not only protects your back, but also helps you get that full range of motion on your abdominal muscles. So that's our workout for today. I host these live streams on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Thanks for being here. Hope to see you then.